One of the things that always bugged me, as a light history buff, are people getting their ideas about the past from highly flawed pop culture, novelty period pieces, and, quite frankly, salacious salivating on how bad things were back then. It's like how people misunderstand the concept of life expectancy and see a number and think everyone dropped dead at 40 or something. But the other big sore spot is marriage age. Hi, I'm Haikai and this is my channel where I talk about whatever the train enthusiast in me brings me to this particular month. So, marriage age we were saying. I cannot count on both hands all the times I've tried to explain to people that while marriage ages in the past were lower than our time, and yes, combined marriages and higher age differences were quite common, it doesn't mean that every 50 years old dude was running around getting 15 years old or whatever. So, I decided that it was the time to get some data behind it. Some hard, cold numbers. And to pick those numbers from the number one demographic that had less need to abide to commoner rule and did partake in heavily combined marriages, royalty. I've decided to start with British royalty because I think, at least on the internet where the main language is English, many people saw that one picture of Henry VIII swapping model every 2 years and decided that that was that. And now, without further ado, let's get into the numbers. As you can see, I've put in a spreadsheet all English monarchs that did marry from King Charles III to King Edmund I, so you won't find Queen Elizabeth I anywhere. I've also elected to consider only the age and age difference of the first marriage of said monarch because if we consider second, third, and so on marriages or spouses being previously married we would have 10,000 variables. So, without further ado, let's see what the numbers say. As you can see, we have an average marriage age for men of 24, an average marriage age for women of 20 and an average age gap of 6 years. But if you know anything about averages, you know that they are not representatives of single realities, so here is the marriage age graph, with the women in hot pink and the men in blue, and as you can see there are more dramatic spikes towards older age than younger, but don't worry, we are going to see those spikes in details. And here is the graph for the age gap that basically confirms what we saw in the marriage age graph. Alright, so, let's see some outliers. The oldest husband was King William IV, born in 1765. He married in 1818 at the age of 53 with Adelaide of Saxe-Meiningen, whom was 26 at the time. This is also the couple with the biggest age gap, with the spouses having a difference of 27 years. The marriage came upon when a series of misfortune caused the House of Hanover of being in need of someone producing a male legitimate heir, of which William had none since he had 10 children, but all illegitimate from a relationship that had ended in the meantime. William became king at the age of 64. The youngest husband is Edgar I. He was born in 944 and married around 957, making him 13 years old at the time of his marriage and 16 by the time he became king. Being so far back in the timeline, as I said, sources start becoming of varying quality, so there is debate about his first marriage, but anyway, the first is Ethelflate Enida, Queen of Mercia. I couldn't find an authoritative source for her date of birth but unofficial royal. UK puts her at around 925, so she would have been 32 by the time of the marriage. In any case, we can say that Edgar is the youngest groom of the batch. The oldest queen to marry is Mary I. I'm not going to recap here her whole story because this is aside the scope of this video. She was born in 1516 and married in 1554, meaning she was 38 years of age. Her spouse, Philip II of Spain, was born in 1527 and was 27 at the time of their marriage. And lastly, the youngest bride of the bunch is Mary de Bohun. She was born in 1369 and married in 1381 when she was 12 years old. Her husband, the future Henry IV of England, was 14 at the time and he is the second youngest groom I've been able to find. The couple had 6 children, but Mary died before Henry became king, and as such she is not a Queen of England. And that is all, folks. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video whenever it might came up.